These are 5 unknown Americans that have changed American history as we know it. Number 1. Elisha Gray. Apart from Alexander Graham Bell, Elisha Gray, an electrical engineer, also worked on and designed a function and harmonic telephone. But because of the opposition to create the telephone he received from his financial supporter, Gray refused to tell anyone about his design and creation, at least not until February 11, 1876, when he asked his patent lawyer to create a caveat and to submit it to the U.S. Patent Office. That following Monday, the 14th, both Alexander Graham Bell and Elisha Gray had their patent applications submitted. Unfortunately for Gray, his paperwork had been submitted just 2 hours after Bell's. Gray is also credited with about 70 different patents for different creations and inventions, one of which is known as the teleautograph. This machine could transmit handwriting through telegraph signals and was the precursor to the modern fax machine. Number 2. Dr. Charles R. Drew. Before the U.S. joined World War II, Drew was recruited by a British organization tasked to create a program that could store and administer blood all around the world. He was also the medical director for the program Blood for Britain, which aided British civilians and soldiers by sending American blood to the United Kingdom. Drew created the mobilization of what he called bloodmobiles, which were trucks that transported blood to areas that needed it and also functioned as donation sites. Drew also established a centralized location for most blood donation sites. All blood plasma collected was tested and held only by certified officials to avoid contamination. This process was so successful that other organizations further improved upon the theme. One of these organizations would later become the American Red Cross. Number 3. Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. During the Civil War, Chamberlain was put in command of the Union 20th Marine Regiment and found himself anchoring the southern flank arrayed around Gettysburg. Chamberlain was tasked with fending off repeated assaults from General Oates' 15th Alabama Regiment. Some say that Chamberlain did more to save the day than any other officer, yet history has largely forgotten him. He eventually became a general and was even present when Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse 2 years later. Number 4. Frank Wills. In June 1972, Frank Wills was working as a private security guard at the Watergate office building in Washington, D.C. This was the location of the Democratic National Convention headquarters. Although not often credited for it, he was a major reason the Watergate scandal was discovered. On the night of June 17, 1972, Wills was doing his regular patrol around the hallways when he noticed duct tape over one of the door locks. After removing the duct tape, Wills continued his patrol. 30 minutes later, he came back to see the duct tape back on the door lock. After seeing this, Wills immediately rushed to phone the police of the incident. What he didn't know at the time was that he had just caught hired professionals breaking into Watergate who were photographing campaign documents and installing listening devices on the telephones. This event sparked investigation into the Watergate scandal and eventually would get Nixon out of the presidency. Number 5. Joseph Warren. Joseph Warren played an influential role in sparking the beginning of the Revolutionary War. Although 38 towns in 8 counties are named after Warren. Okay, screw it. Number 5. Joseph Warren. Joseph Warren played an influential role in sparking the beginning of the Revolutionary War. Although 38 towns and 8 counties are named after Warren, it's estimated that about 95% of Americans probably have no clue who he is. Warren was a Boston doctor and Freemason. He performed the first autopsy on the first American killed by British troops during the Boston Massacre. He also deserves credit for directing Paul Revere and William Dawes to warn of the incoming British troops. Warren organized and led militia units as well. Eventually he was appointed as a major general, but chose to fight as a common soldier during the Battle of Bunker Hill because he felt the generals there had more combat experience than he. Warren died during that battle, but deserved to be remembered for his courage and patriotic acts that helped form this independent nation of the United States.
Ocean Man.